time now for This Is Life with Rob McGowan. How we live always changes the world around us.
Hello, this is Rob McGowan with Life Radio, and I have special guest today, Tara Ross Robinson. How are you today, Tara?
I'm well, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Well, always nice to have you on. It's been a while, actually. I can't remember the last time your show was live. It was before COVID, I think. We were doing
Yeah, it wasn't long
together.
before, but I can't even remember what we were talking about.
Who knows?
I know we didn't stay on topic. I know that for a fact.
Well, that's never any fun, is it?
Yeah, it's true.
So you're going for council again,
I
staying on,
am.
and I've been interviewing everybody, finding out the ins and outs. But your sister-in-law works here, so I can get all kinds of dirt on you. It's always fun. And my brother has worked with you for years, Chris. So
Yep. Yeah, I went to high school with Chris.
oh yeah. I think at
hmm
one time, it seems to me years ago, he said, "Oh yeah, she's like my second wife at work. It must be like cooking or something. I don't know."
Well, Chris
Uh,
and I go way back. We used to be dance partners back in grade 12 in leadership class.
oh really?
And yeah, and then at work we all refer to each other as our work wives and work husbands and spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. Well, Trina was telling me that you're actually the queen of Logieville. They recognize you as. Is this true now?
Yes.
Where
Self
did this title come from?
it is self-professed. Somewhere in the mid 80s, I declared myself to be the queen of Logieville, and anyway, it just seems to have caught on a little bit. And my kids think I'm a little cuckoo for saying that I'm the queen of Logieville, but we've been out of the country a couple of times, and when the kids were small, and they were guiding me at the airport, telling me how to be appropriate and not to embarrass them. And we were in Florida one time. We took the kids to Disney World, and they talked to me at the airport as we were getting ready to leave to head into Florida, and they said, "Now, Mom, you can't go around telling everybody that you're the queen. You're not the queen of anything. It's just pretend." And I said, "But I really am the queen of Logieville." And lo and behold, we get to the resort and we're walking along, and my husband Chopper and we see friends of ours walking ahead of us rather, and we didn't know that they were going to be there. Anyway, they turned around and they hollered out, "Hello, it's the Queen of Logieville." And of course the kids didn't know who they were because they were just little, and they were mortified. They're like, "Oh no." So anyway, it's just a fun title I've given myself, and I enjoy it, and it's
That's
for
awesome.
fun.
And I hear you're a great cook and you love to cook.
I love to cook.
Especially these dressing balls. I'm gonna have to try these dressing balls sometimes. I keep hearing about them.
I make a pretty incredible dressing ball. So it's dressing, but I make them with an ice cream scoop. And when I cook them in the oven, each of them are crispy. So
Oh
you like
wow.
the crispy bits of your dressing. So everybody gets a bit of the crispy bits.
Well, that's
So that's
interesting.
how it.
I'm
So a
gonna
couple
get
of
Trina
years,
to bring one of those in at Christmas. I'm gonna have to try
I'll
that out.
I'll I will hook you up. A
That
couple of
sounds
years
good to
ago, I
me.
made them old school in
Maybe
a
we'll come
dish.
here. I did a show one time here. We filmed it right at the radio station. We had, I think it was Lisa came in, and she and her family, they do this they fry a bread, and it's with molasses and all this stuff. So she came here and we actually did a show one day. Maybe we'll do a show. We'll just do the dressing balls and make it up before Christmas and have some fun.
Oh, that'd
Be
be
great.
great. I'd love that.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions today. I pretty much ask everybody the same questions, basic stuff, sort of give people an idea what you're doing for council. But you've been on there a while now, so
Yep.
you probably got a good idea what's going on and things. So the
I like to
first
pretend.
question is, what's your new vision for Miramichi? What do you want to see happen, and as councillor, and what would you like to see going forward for Miramichi?
Well, I would really like to continue on the momentum that we've built in the last 5 years. The council that are still sitting, we've done quite a few little projects and quite a few big projects. We've done the Queen Elizabeth Park. We're making headway on the multiplex. We've done some major improvements on road. We've done some improvements on water and wastewater. We're working on a garbage bylaw. So there's all kinds going on. And I would really love to be at the table to continue on all of those things. Some projects are done, of course, but to continue on the things that aren't done yet. And I believe that we as a group have a vision, and I have a vision as well of a city that is a little bit larger, not huge, but with more jobs and continue on with the prosperity that we're building, and to improve our public spaces and improve our capacity for activities and recreation, and then at the same time, keeping our citizens safe, the importance of protective services and the importance of good roads and good water and all of those things. So it's a very general response, I suppose, but I don't have any vision of, having rainbows and lollipops popping up in parks all over the place. I have a clear vision on the continued growth and prosperity of our community.
So you're on the council. I get all kinds of different responses about the multiplex, how it's going into pieces. It's building one thing. What is the actually like? Where are we on the multiplex? Where's that going? And what are we at? What stage are we at, sort of?
Well, it's kind of like we're on a treadmill that's going very slow. So back in 2016, I wasn't sure that I was in favor of the multiplex. And then after I got onto council, you and I have discussed this before, when I got onto council, I realized the nuts and bolts of what we need and what is wrong, and what direction it needs to go. And of course, when I first got on council in 2016, I didn't understand the money matters. And so now going forward, here we are 5 years later, and we've purchased a chunk of land, and we're prepared to put the roadway in and do the underground for that. And it's not just for that. There's development coming adjacent to that property. So the work that is in progress in that area is not specifically for the multiplex. It's multi-purpose, I suppose. But that being said, we had a plan developed that was very large, and to the tune of about $60 million, which is a lot of money. And we submitted that to the provincial and federal governments for their review. And recently they've come back and asked us to possibly look at it and scale it back a bit. And so presently that is what we're doing. We're looking at how it could be fine-tuned, and to turn it from a $60 million project to perhaps a $35 million project, which would still address the needs that our community have, and will improve our carbon footprint, and will improve the monies lost in the old and deteriorated buildings that just cost so much money to maintain. You know, 5-year-old me, 2016, I was of the mindset that we could fix what we have and that we could repurpose what we have. But sadly, those buildings are just so far gone. And yes, there is blame on that they should have been maintained better. But at the end of the day, they weren't. And so it just got to the point where it's too much. It's too much. It's too late. They can't be fixed. Oh, they can. Anything can be fixed if you're willing to spend the money. So it comes down to money. And if we are to repair the LDA and repair the Golden Hawk and repair Linden Rec Center, and to refurbish the Civic Center, that could all be done. But you have to borrow the money or attain the money. And to get that money, the federal government and provincial government are less inclined to, in my opinion, to give money for repairs and refurbishments. They tend to support new initiatives. And then when it comes to borrowing, if we were to borrow the money, it would have to be amortized over 10 years on a refurbishment or a repair, whereas borrowing on a new build is over 30 years. So yes, it can be repaired, but it will cost more. Because if we have to borrow the same amount of dollars, if not more dollars, to fix what we have to pay that back in 10 years. If we were to borrow the same amount of money to build new and undo all of the other buildings and either sell them or demolish them or whatever's going to happen, none of those things have been decided yet, but I know that they won't continue on with the status quo. All of those things, you have 30 years on that borrowing plan on something new. So the way I see it, if we borrow the money, and we won't have to borrow the full 30, we would only have to borrow a percentage because we have money put aside. The federal government is on board, and the provincial government, I believe, will be on board once the plan has changed. And the money is there. It's a matter of tapping into it. So we would only have to borrow a smaller amount, not 30 million. I know that's the number that people have in their minds. And we could pay that off over 30 years. But if we were paying it off over 10, the tax rate would have to go up. There is no way that we could afford it with the tax revenue that we have to pay it off over 10 years. But the tax revenue that we have, we can afford to pay it without an increase over 30.
That was quite a detailed answer.
Clear as mud?
That's awesome. Oh, well, so with this growth, so I see what you're saying. We want to grow and have bigger city. And we also have, it brings me into another issue. We've probably talked about this before, but as our city's growing and more people coming in and imbalances happen, and we have a lot of, we have a major drug issue, it feels like, on the Miramichi, but I guess every city as it comes in, and there's two sides of that. There's the policing side, and of course the human side where people are going through. What is the council doing about it now? And do they have plans for the future as something to change and what they want, their approach to it?
I agree that we have a drug problem. I spoke on it a while back. I went public with my opinion, my personal opinion on the drug issue in the Miramichi, and in my line of work, I see a lot of it. As a council, the city is, we are very supportive of our protective services, and we have a very great faith in our protective services branch to make sure that they are cleaning up the drugs on the street. We have hired, or the police have hired a community officer, and that constable is on the ground. He's walking around, he's talking to people, he's educating. If you have a group that you would like to have an officer come in to speak about the drugs and what happens and the court process and all of that stuff, he's your man. He will be deployed to go and talk to you and talk to your group. So that was a position that had been cut years prior because of money. And money makes the world go round. So, we've reinvested in that. So we have the community services officer, and we're partnered with Region 7 and the mental health crisis team. And there's a correlation between drugs and mental health, and they're not always hand in hand, but there's a support system that is necessary. And the police working with the mental health crisis unit is alleviating some of that pressure. And I believe that the courts are working to the best of their ability to clean it up. The bigger we get and the broader our population is, the introduction of different things happens. But I believe that our community is engaged. We have a number of community watch or neighborhood watch programs that are in place. I did a speech or an evening one night at the Vogue Theatre, and encouraging people to get together and to establish neighborhood watch programs of their own in their collective neighborhoods. And there are a few that are up and running, and it's very neighborly. People are paying attention to each other and paying attention to what's happening in their communities. So it's not going to be fixed with one foul swoop, but if everybody or most people are engaged and we continue to talk about it and continue to keep it on the forefront and acknowledge that it's real and that it's an issue, I believe that slow and steady, we can win that race.
That's awesome. So you, when it comes to economic growth, do we have new plans or something special that's going to be happening going forward as council that you've been working on, or that you'd like to see different in this next venue into the next 4 years?
Well, I think I'm the co-chair of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. And our department, the big team of 3 in that department, they have worked tirelessly in the last number of years, and they've come up with business development incentives, housing incentives. Our industrial parks are full. We have programs where, if you want to set up shop, and if we have space in our industrial parks, we could transfer a piece of land and you can build your shop and and run your business. And we have seen phenomenal growth in the last couple of years. We've had some big company come in the cannabis industry that they're looking at over 100 jobs, from what I understand, possibly even more than that. So it's there.
Where would they be putting that for the 100 jobs?
So that's in the Chatham Industrial Park.
Okay.
They bought the old Cassidy's Beverages building.
Oh,
They won
oh,
right
so they're
across
going to use
from
that now. Okay.
that's up and running. They're up and running. They have it staffed, and they're in
Oh, really?
progress.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and
Okay.
they have a couple other chunks of land too, and they're expanding already.
And there's going to be
So
100 jobs there, you said?
close to it, from what I understand.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
and are these I don't know if you know, are these reasonable paying jobs, or like are they low paying
From
jobs?
what I understand, they are above minimum wage, and they're specialized jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's I don't know I don't know everything about it.
Sure.
But
That's okay. I
from
didn't know anything about it. I
yeah.
just thought that building, what a shame, but
But
now
yeah, but
that's great.
they purchased that building, they completely renovated it, and it's full of people and they're working. And
Okay.
so it's busy, and our economic development team has worked tirelessly, and there's a lot going on. I don't know what the exact numbers are off the top of my head, but I know we've had tens of millions of dollars worth of growth in the last 3 or 4 years.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
with all this work in economics, we're going to definitely need some kind of housing plans. Oh, it's already getting hard around here for a lot of people.
Well, and there's lots of housing in the hopper. We have 3 or 4 developments that have gotten the green light and they're ready to go. And we're talking a 17-unit building, a 24-unit building, and Habitat for Humanity is building, and things are happening.
Oh,
And
awesome.
it's amazing. So everything has been so slowed with the pandemic, and you're looking all over the world and see that things are coming to a standstill, and we've just continued to trudge ahead. It's been amazing.
Miramichi is having a surprisingly a big growth, and we haven't been touched by the pandemic in the way everybody else has. There's something special going on here. I don't know exactly what, but which brings me sort of to the next question. I've been asking everybody about our faith, going
Hmm.
forward. When we go to council, I know everybody's got different faiths and they grew up. Did you grow up? What is your faith? Was it Catholic,
Catholic.
Protestant? Catholic? Yeah.
Catholic.
So when you make decisions, do you think back on your faith, or do you have a certain faith? Does it play a role in your decision making at all?
Well, I think faith is very important. Your faith, hope, and charity, your 3 pillars, they're important for just about every decision in your life. And you can't make a decision without well, I'll backtrack. You can make decisions all you want if you're just willing to say yes and no. But if you were to look at the long-term decision-making process, no one knows how things are going to end up, or how things, will roll down the road. And to trust that things will go well, and to trust that things will work out, that's your faith. And to have a basis of faith in your life, you're able to make sound decisions, um, in the hopes that things will happen. And you still have to use logic, and you still have to use evidence and data and all of those things. But I think it's important that you look within yourself, and take a bit of who you are in your decision making process.
Awesome. No, that's a good idea for sure. Well, I pretty much have asked you everything I asked everybody else, but at the end of each show, I always ask, so is there any particular thing you want to say to everybody in Miramichi about your run for council, or maybe you've talked a lot about the stuff you guys are working on council and what it's meant to you.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed the last 5 years. I was an athlete back in the day. I wouldn't call myself an athlete anymore, but I likened council to playing a sport. And we sit at the table, and we banter and debate and argue, and I'm not going to say we fight, but we have we get some pretty heated conversations, and at the end of the debate, we stand up and shake hands, and it's you wait till the next session. And the group that I've worked with have been phenomenal. We've got 9 different personalities at that table. We've got 9 different backgrounds at that table, and we work well together. And I've really enjoyed the last 5 years. And I appreciate the support that I've had from the community. When I ran in 2016, it was sort of a spur of the moment decision, and I threw my name out there, and I did well in the election, and I believe I served our people well in the last 5 years, and I will humbly ask for their support once again to let me continue on. It's been a wonderful experience. It's time consuming, but I think it's fun. I enjoy it. I really do,
Well, that's a good thing.
and then I don't have a specific political agenda. I'm not looking to build a dome over my kingdom down here in Logieville or anything like that. I really genuinely have an interest in the long-term growth and prosperity of our city, and I would love to be back at the table again.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Tara, for the work you've done at council and for our city. And I wish you good luck on your bid towards going forward and continuing on with that work. And we'll definitely have to get together this Christmas and do a show. I'm making those stuffing balls because
Wonderful.
I'm
I would
starving to
love
death. I'm on this special diet right now. It's killing me.
Oh, life's too short to be on a diet.
That's true.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate
No
the
trouble.
invite. And as always, I enjoy having conversation with you.
Yeah, it's always fun, Tara. Well, thanks again. And this will be on probably tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It'll be on Life Radio. So tune in to Life Radio to listen
For
to the
sure.
show. All right.
All
See
right.
you later, Tara.
You
Have a
take
great
care.
day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.